You're back. The mistreatment of the Native Americans by the Europeans began right from day one, right from the very first encounter of Columbus with the Taino. Here's what Columbus says about the Taino in his and by extension of all the Native Americans in his journal. The Indians are so naive and so free with their possessions that no one who has not witnessed them would believe it. When you ask for something they have, they never say no. To the contrary, they offer to share with anyone. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want. And the Europeans sent far more than 50 men to subjugate and conquer. Large portions, the majority, were lost to disease, which is not something the Europeans could have anticipated. But there was a sense among the major European powers that they were entitled to take this land from the people who were there, largely because the people who were here were not Christian. The fellow you're looking at here is Pope Alexander VI. If you've ever wondered how it is that almost all of Latin America speaks Spanish and Brazil hangs out on the other side speaking Portuguese, it's because Pope Alexander VI took an inaccurate map of South America, Central America, drew a line down the middle and gave one half to Portugal, one half to Spain. It's just the map wasn't accurate. And so Portugal definitely got the smaller half. Alexander VI here, just so you know, his popes change their name when they become pope. They have since the 4th century, when a dude named Mars, the Roman god of war, was elected pope, and he said, I don't think I want to be Pope Mars. Anyway, this is Rodrigo Borgia. There have been 267 popes over 2,000 years. And so when you have that many people, you're going to have all sorts of people. And many of them have been good and great and holy men devoted to spreading their faith and doing works of charity and peace and kindness. And that's what we're familiar with today. All the popes in living memory have been advocates for peace and human rights and whatnot. But in a long history, you're also going to get some scoundrels. And this is likely the biggest and worst of the papal scoundrels. One of the worst popes of all time, Alexander VI. He gave his mistress a throne, and she sat on a throne right next to him as he ruled from the Vatican. He made his illegitimate son, Cesare Borgia, the Bishop of Valencia, Spain. He bribed and murdered his way into the papacy. Not a good guy here. And it's this one of history's all-time villains, who was one of the characters that Emperor Palpatine is based on. It was him who divided up the Americas, at least Central and South America, between Spain and Portugal. And this caused a crisis of conscience among some Europeans. Many were happy to come over and take and conquer and enslave the natives and have their way with them. But others are saying, hang on, wait a minute. This isn't right. Are we really allowed to do this just because they're not Christians? Can the Pope give us their land just because they're not Christians? Enter the most important person you've never heard of. This is Francisco de Vitoria. He lived from 1483 to 1546. He's a Spanish priest, philosopher, and lawyer. And he's thriving. He's part of the scholastic movement of philosophers. He's on the later end of that movement that centuries earlier had launched the Renaissance. And he took a long, hard look at what his country was doing in the name of his faith and his king. And he said, this isn't right. His specific argument was, the Pope can't give you the Native Americans' territory because the Pope has no authority over the Native Americans. as a Catholic, he recognizes the Pope has authority in matters of faith, and even the way Catholic teaching was understood at the time, the Pope even has authority over Catholic kings. But if somebody's not a Christian, then the Pope has no authority over them whatsoever. But the rights that we have don't come from the fact that we're Christian, he argues. They come from the fact that we're human. That there is such a thing as universal human rights to which all people are entitled. They're not granted by the outside, and you don't gain them by entering the church or by doing anything else. And an innocent person, at least, cannot lose those rights legitimately. So when land is taken away from people, when liberty is taken away from people, when they are conquered, when they are enslaved, even if they are done so in the name of spreading the gospel, it's absolutely unacceptable. He then argues that what we need is an international governing body. He doesn't want a single world government and no local government, like some mega emperor, but he argues for something like the United Nations, which won't happen until 400 years after his death. But he argues for a worldwide, notice this is the first era in history that people can even think in terms of worldwide anything, now that the Columbian Exchange has united the two sides of the world. He argues for a worldwide governing body that can stand specifically to assert, protect, and defend the rights of humans that they possess universally simply by virtue of their humanity. It is a profoundly influential concept in our own time. Much of the arguments you hear on the news today are about who has the right to do what and whose rights are being violated. This language of rights comes to us from Vitoria. It's going to be a tragically long time before anyone really listens to them, and before governments start drafting laws with the notion of rights in mind. But you know what? If you walk in the door today feeling like you had some rights, if I catch you playing on your phone and I take your phone and I smash it and then I rub your face in the broken glass, you'd say, you don't have the right to do that because I have rights. All right. Thank you, Francisco de Vitoria, for not giving us our rights, but for giving us the language and the concept of human rights. One more thing, you'll notice that today we crossed over the year 1500. If you look at the title of this course is called Humanities 1 to 1500, which means that we have officially, for the first time ever, technically accomplished everything we have to accomplish this year as of this class. There's an entire second course called Humanities 2 from 1500 to present that I hope to be able to offer in the future. We don't currently offer it. If we do have that class, we'll take an in-depth look at the culture of the modern world. Since we don't currently offer it, all that remains for us to do this year, having accomplished everything we have to accomplish, is in just a couple of lessons, briefly build a bridge from everything we've been talking about to our world today. So that's our task in the next few class periods, to show how everything we've talked about, from the Big Bang to the Age of Exploration and everything in the middle, including especially the tension between the cave and the light, between Plato and Aristotle, how all of that connects to us today. And so that's what's to come in the few class periods we have left.
Around a ladder bit, trying to make the pieces fit to a puzzle with a million missing pieces. When I'm feeling fine is when I discover that I'm afraid to blow my cover, and there's something very wrong with this. So slip back in your hole, or get back in your cave, If I'm going down, I'm taking someone with me.